Hi, I'm Kurt Lovell from Lovell's Nursery. I'd like to talk a little bit about some evergreen trees for privacy and for wind screening. By far the most popular evergreen tree over the last 20 years for that type of purpose has been the Leyland cypress. Leyland cypress are a very fast-growing evergreen tree. We'll get somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 feet tall. And they get fairly wide at the base, around 20 foot or so they're not really practical for a small yard or fenced-in area. So you want to make sure that you put this plant in an area where it has room to grow, because it's kind of not the type of plant that you want to be trimming. They grow so fast. So the other thing you want to be aware of with Leyland cypress is they are susceptible to some winter damage if it would go below zero, which it did in the winter of 2014. So this plant is not used further north. So a good substitute for this plant, which is used around here and further north, is the green giant arborvitae. Green giant arborvitaes are also very fast growing. Will reach a maximum height of around 25 foot or so. They only get about 15 feet wide at the base. So it's a much better tree for areas where you cannot allow for a lot of width to grow. So both these plants make excellent privacy screens and windbreaks. They are not good plants for hedges as they grow so fast, they get so tall, you don't want to be trimming them all the time. Another option for a smaller screen or even a hedge is the emerald green arborvitae. This particular plant is fairly slow growing, about 6 inches a year, stays very compact and will top out at about 12 to 15 feet. So it's more practical for a smaller area that you're trying to get some privacy, like along a patio border. It also can be used as a hedge if it's planted on 4 to 6 foot centers, and then can be trimmed together as a hedge. Some other plants which are a little bit more unusual and worthwhile mentioning would be some of the ornamental pines. This particular pine is a dwarf Korean pine with a pretty blue foliage. It will top out at about 12 to 15 feet. Very slow growing, but it would be a good plant for a small area where you're trying to block out a neighbor's patio or something like that. Another pretty plant is the cryptside cypress, gold-colored evergreen. This plant will top out at around 20-25 feet. Fairly slow growing, so it's not something you would want to plant where you want privacy very quickly. However, it does add a lot of color to the landscape and does make a nice tree as it matures. Another plant worth mentioning is cryptomeria. Cryptomeria is kind of an unusual evergreen tree. You don't see it that often. There again, 30-35 feet, very slow growing. One thing about this plant is it will tolerate some shade, so if you have an area that gets a half-day shade or something like that, these other evergreens won't really do that well. They need a lot of sun. This one will tolerate some shade. This evergreen, Deodora cedar, very pretty with a little bit of weeping habit to it, 20 feet or so upon maturity. Just a real pretty, attractive evergreen. Makes a nice specimen planted alone, or if you wanted to use it as a windbreak, you could also do that. Another plant worth mentioning, not a needled evergreen, but a broadleafed evergreen, is the southern magnolia. This particular variety is called Little Gem. It is a dwarf variety. It will top out at about 12 to 15 feet. It's very slow growing, does get the white magnolia flower on it like the regular southern magnolia does. There again, nice specimen standing alone, or does make a nice evergreen screen as well. So here's some varieties of some plants that you could use for evergreen screening and privacy. Just keep in mind, make sure you have the room. If you want to plant these bigger ones, make sure you have room for them. Get a little advice from us before you plant them.
La la la.